There is a sound that exists only in the deepest part of the night, a quiet so complete it hums with the memory of everything that has ever been silent. It is a stillness that waits for a single thought to notice it, and once you do, you begin to wonder if the world is listening back. As this journey begins, if you wish to share this calm with others, a gentle press of the like button is all that is needed. To continue these explorations, feel free to subscribe. There is no bell to ring, only peace to be found. Here, high in the mountains, that deep quiet is a constant companion. It settles in the valleys and clings to the ancient pines. It is the breath of the world before the world wakes up, and it is in this profound quiet that my day begins. Long before the first hint of light touches the highest peaks, something inside me stirs. It is not an alarm. It is not a noise. It is a feeling, a gentle pull from the world of dreams into the world of awareness. My eyes open in the darkness. There is no shape, no form, only the deep, soft black of the room. The air is cool on my skin, carrying the scent of cedar wood from the walls and the faint, clean smell of mountain air. It is a stillness that you can feel, a weightless blanket over everything. The world outside the paper screen of my window is still sleeping a deep and dreamless sleep. I do not move. I simply lie here on my thin mat on the wooden floor, and I listen to the silence. It is not empty. Within it, I can hear the slow, steady beat of my own heart, a quiet rhythm in the vastness. It is the first sound of the new day. I allow myself these few moments to simply exist, to be a part of the stillness. There are no thoughts of the day ahead, no memories of the day before. There is only this moment, this breath, in and out, a slow, easy current of air that connects me to the room, to the temple, to the mountain itself. The floor beneath me is solid and real. The thin blanket over me is soft. These are the first sensations. Simple, true. The mind is a calm pool, its surface undisturbed. It reflects only the deep, quiet, dark. There is a great peace in this, a sense of belonging to the night. Slowly, very slowly, I begin to move. Each movement is deliberate, mindful. I fold my blanket with care. The cotton is old and soft, worn smooth by many years of use. I run my hands over its surface, feeling the texture. I fold it into a neat square and place it at the head of my sleeping mat. It is a small action, but it is done with complete attention. There is no rush. The sun is still far away, sleeping behind the curve of the earth. The temple is quiet. The only sound is the soft rustle of my cotton robes as I dress in the darkness. The robes are simple, dyed a deep saffron color from forest plant. They are light and loose, allowing for easy movement. Putting them on is a ritual in itself. Each fold, each tie, is a familiar motion. It is an act of preparation, a way of telling the body and the mind that a new day is beginning, that the time for rest is over, and the time for awareness has come. The fabric is cool against my skin. It feels like a second skin, a part of me. Once dressed, I stand in the center of the small room. I take another deep breath, filling my lungs with the cool, clean air, and I wait. The waiting is not anxious. It is patient. I am waiting for a sound that will signal the true start of the day for everyone in the temple. It is a sound that has marked the passage of time on this mountain for hundreds of years. Far across the courtyard, In the bell tower that stands like a silent guardian, the great bronze bell sleeps. It is waiting for the oldest monk, Master Jin, to climb the tower steps. It is waiting for him to pull the heavy wooden striker, and then the sound will come, the sound that wakes the mountain. I can almost feel the vibration before I hear it, a deep, resonant hum that starts in the soles of my feet and travels up through my entire body. It is a feeling of deep connection. Then the sound itself arrives, a low, powerful tone that rolls across the temple grounds like a gentle wave. It is not a sharp, startling sound. It is a deep, warm, and inviting call. It does not demand that you wake up. It invites you to join the world. The sound fills the room. It fills the air. It fills the entire valley. It is a sound of pure peace. The single, long note hangs in the air for what feels like an eternity. It slowly fades, becoming quieter and quieter until it merges back into the silence from which it came. But the silence is different now. It is charged with energy. It is alive with possibility. The day has officially begun. I slide open the paper screen of my door. The sound is even more clear out here. The wooden hallway is dark, but I know the way by heart. My bare feet make a soft, rhythmic sound on the polished wood. The floor is cool and smooth. It feels ancient, worn down by the footsteps of countless monks before me. I am not the only one moving. From other rooms, I can hear the faint sounds of others stirring, the soft slide of a door, the quiet rustle of robes. We are all moving towards the same place, drawn by the memory of the bell and the promise of the morning. We move in silence. There are no words spoken. There is no need for them. We are a community of quiet souls, connected by a shared purpose. We move like a slow, silent river through the dark veins of the temple. As I walk, I pass a window that looks out onto the eastern sky. There it is, a faint, almost invisible line of pale grey along the horizon, the first hint of dawn. The darkness is starting to soften at the edges. The world is slowly turning from black to a deep, deep blue. The stars, which were so bright just moments ago, are beginning to fade. They are like tiny diamonds being slowly drawn back into a velvet cloth. It is a beautiful and subtle change, a quiet promise of the light to come. I continue my walk towards the great hall. The air grows cooler as I get closer to the main courtyard. I can smell the damp earth of the gardens and the sharp, clean scent of pine needles. These are the smells of the mountain waking up, the smells of life. The temple is not just a building. It is a part of this mountain. It is made from its wood and its stone. It breathes its air. And as I walk through its halls, I feel that connection deep within me. I am a part of this place. My mind is still calm. My thoughts are simple. I am aware of the cool air. I am aware of the smooth floor beneath my feet. I am aware of the coming light. This is the foundation of my day. This simple, quiet awareness. It is a practice, just like chanting, just like meditation. It is the practice of being present, of being right here, right now, in this moment. And this moment is perfect. It is full of peace. It is full of potential. The day is a blank scroll, and I am ready to begin. The first words have not yet been written. At the edge of the main courtyard is the old stone well. It is not just a source of water. It is a source of life for the temple. It has been here longer than any of the current buildings. a deep and steady heart-drawing water directly from the mountain's core. The stones around it are dark with moisture and covered in soft, green moss. They are smooth to the touch, worn down by centuries of hands. In the pre-dawn light, it looks like a place of ancient power. My path leads me here first. It is a vital part of the morning ritual. The water from this well is believed to be pure, untouched by the world below. It is mountain water, filtered through rock and time. It is cold, so very cold. Even in the height of summer, the water from this well has the chill of melted snow. It is a shock to the system, but a welcome one. It washes away the last traces of sleep and brings a sharp, clear focus to the mind. I approach the well in silence. Another young monk, named Alara, is already there, drawing a bucket. We do not speak. We simply offer each other a small, respectful bow, a gesture of shared understanding. Her movements are graceful and practiced. She lowers the wooden bucket into the darkness of the well. I hear the splash as it hits the water far below. Then the slow, rhythmic creak of the rope and pulley as she draws it back up. The sound is a familiar part of the morning symphony. When her bucket is full, she moves aside, and it is my turn. I take the rope in my hands. It is thick and rough, made of natural fiber. It feels strong and reliable. I let the bucket fall, guiding its descent. I feel the moment it becomes weightless, the moment it floats, and then the satisfying pull as it fills with the cold, heavy water. Pulling it up requires effort. It is a physical task that connects me to the world. My muscles engage. My breath becomes deeper. It is a simple, honest labor. When the bucket reaches the top, I rest it on the stone ledge. The water is perfectly clear. It is like liquid glass. I can see the reflection of the deep blue sky just beginning to lighten. I dip a smaller wooden ladle into the bucket. The water is so cold it makes my fingers ache for a moment, but it is a clean, invigorating pain. I lift the ladle and pour the water over my hands, washing them thoroughly. The water runs in clear streams over my skin, taking with it any dust, any lingering tiredness. Then I cup my hands together and fill them with the cold water. I bring them to my face and splash the water onto my skin. The shock of the cold is immediate and intense. It makes me gasp. My eyes close tightly. For a moment, all I can feel is the icy purity of the water. It wakes up every nerve. It feels like the mountain itself is washing me, cleansing me not just of dirt, but of clouded thoughts. It is a baptism in pure awareness. I do this 3 times. Each time, the cold is just as sharp, but my body welcomes it. It is a reminder that I am alive, that I am a physical being in a physical world. The water has no scent, but it has a taste, a clean, mineral taste of the deep earth. After washing my face, I take a small sip. The cold spreads through my chest, a feeling of inner purity that matches the outer. The ritual is complete. I feel awake, truly awake. My mind is sharp and clear. My body is energized. I leave the well and walk towards the small stone basin at the edge of the garden. This is where we brush our teeth. The practice is simple. We use a twig from a special tree, frayed at one end to form a natural brush, and for paste, a mixture of salt and fine ash. It is not sweet or minty like the pastes of the world below. It is earthy and slightly bitter, but it cleans the teeth and invigorates the gums. It is another small, mindful act. I focus on the sensation of the twig against my teeth, the salty taste, the feeling of cleanliness. There is no rush. I am not thinking about the next task. I am simply here at this stone basin, under the slowly brightening sky, caring for this body that has been given to me. When I am finished, I rinse my mouth with more of the cold well water. The taste of salt and ash is washed away, leaving only the clean taste of the mountain. Now I am ready for the great hall. I have cleansed my hands, my face, my mouth. I have woken my body and my mind. This ritual of water is a preparation. It is about more than just physical cleanliness. It is a symbolic act. It is about washing away the past, the dreams of the night, the attachments of the self. It is about starting the day fresh and pure, like the water from the well. It is about being an empty vessel, ready to be filled with the experiences of the new day. As I walk away from the well, I can see more of my brothers and sisters moving through the courtyard, each of us performing the same quiet rituals. There is a sense of harmony in our shared actions. We are all individuals, but we are moving together in a silent dance that has been performed every morning for centuries. The sky is now a soft lavender color. The shapes of the temple buildings are becoming clearer. The world is slowly revealing itself, and I am ready to meet it. The cold on my skin is a reminder. The clarity in my mind is a gift. The day is young, and I am fully present for its beginning. This simple act of washing with cold water is a powerful anchor. It connects me to the present moment in a very direct, physical way. It is impossible to be lost in thought when your face is numb with cold. It forces you into the here and now. And that is the goal of our practice, to live as much as possible in this precious, fleeting moment. The water is a teacher. It teaches us about purity, about clarity, about the power of a simple, focused action. It is the first lesson of the day, and perhaps the most important. The great bell has called us from sleep. The cold water has called us to attention. Now, the chants will call us to unity. The great hall is the heart of the temple. It is a vast, open space with a high, vaulted ceiling, supported by massive wooden pillars. The wood is dark with age, polished to a soft gleam by centuries of smoke from incense and the touch of countless hands. The air inside is always cool, and it carries a unique scent, a mixture of old wood, beeswax from the candles, and the sweet, earthy smell of sandalwood incense. It is a smell that immediately calms the mind. The floor is made of large, flat stones that are cool and smooth under my bare feet. As I enter, I can see that others are already here. Monks of all ages are finding their places on the floor, arranging their cushions in neat rows. We are all dressed in the same saffron robes. From the back of the hall, we look like a field of marigolds blooming in the dim light. The only light comes from a few large candles placed on the central altar. Their flames flicker gently, casting long, dancing shadows on the walls and pillars. I find my usual place near the middle of the hall. I place my small, round cushion on the floor and sit down in the lotus position. The posture itself is a form of meditation. The spine is straight, the hands rest gently on the knees. It aligns the body and prepares it for stillness. I close my eyes for a moment and focus on my breath, in and out. The sounds in the hall are soft and muted. The rustle of robes, the soft thud of a cushion being placed on the stone, the quiet cough of an older monk. At the front of the hall, before a large, serene statue of the Buddha, Master Jin takes his place. He is the eldest and most respected monk in our community. His face is a map of deep lines, each one earned through a lifetime of devotion and practice. He sits in stillness for a long moment, his presence filling the entire hall with a sense of profound peace. Then he takes a small wooden mallet and strikes a large, bowl-shaped bell that sits before him. The sound is not like the great bell in the tower. This sound is high and clear, a pure, ringing tone that seems to vibrate in the very air. It cuts through the quiet and focuses every mind in the room. The note hangs in the air, shimmering, and then slowly fades into silence. In that perfect silence that follows, Master Jin begins to chant. His voice is not loud, but it is deep and resonant. It is a voice that has been shaped by decades of this practice. It fills the hall with a low, powerful vibration. The words are from an ancient text. They are words that have been spoken in this hall every morning for 1,000 years. I do not think about the meaning of each word. Instead, I focus on the sound, the vibration, the rhythm. After the first line, we all join in. The sound of 100 voices chanting in unison is a powerful thing. It is not a collection of individual voices. It becomes one voice, one deep, continuous sound that rises and falls like the tide. The chant starts low and slow, a deep, steady drone that seems to come from the earth itself. I can feel the vibration in my chest, in my throat. It is a physical sensation. The sound we create together fills the hall, pushing out all other thoughts. There is no room for worries about the future or regrets about the past. There is only the chant, only this single, unified sound. My mind, which was already clear, becomes even more still. It merges with the sound. As we continue, the rhythm begins to build. The pace quickens slightly. The tone rises and falls in a hypnotic pattern. It is like a great river of sound, and I am just one small drop of water within it. I am a part of something much larger than myself. The feeling of separation, of being an individual, begins to dissolve. There is only the community, only the shared intention, the shared breath, the shared sound. It is a profound feeling of connection. The candlelight flickers, the shadows dance. The air grows thick with the energy of our voices. We are not just making noise. We are shaping the very atmosphere of the room. We are charging it with positive intention, with peace, with devotion. This is our offering to the new day. It is our way of greeting the world with a unified heart. The chant is a prayer, a meditation, and a song all in one. The chant continues for a long time. I lose track of how many verses we have repeated. Time itself seems to stretch and dissolve. There is only the eternal now of the chant. My body is still. My mind is focused. My spirit feels light. It is a state of deep concentration, but it is also effortless. I am not forcing it. I am simply allowing it to happen. I am allowing myself to be carried by the river of sound. Then, just as it began, it starts to wind down. Master Jin leads us, his voice guiding the descent. The pace slows, the volume softens. The energy in the room becomes more gentle, more serene. The final verse is spoken almost in a whisper. The 100 voices become one soft, collective breath. And then, silence. A deep, profound silence that is even more powerful than the one that came before. The air is still vibrating with the echo of our voices. It is a sacred silence. We sit in this silence for several long minutes. We do not move. We simply absorb the energy of the practice. We let the peace settle deep within us. My eyes are still closed. In the darkness behind my eyelids, I feel a sense of clarity and purpose. The day has been properly consecrated. My mind is open. My heart is full. This is the true beginning of our work. The work of being present. The work of being kind. The work of being aware. Finally, Master Jin strikes the small bowl-shaped bell again. The clear, bright note rings out, signaling the end of our morning practice. The sound is a gentle release. Slowly, with mindful movements, we begin to stir. We open our eyes. We stretch our limbs. We stand up. The hall is still dim, but through the high windows, I can see that the sky outside is now a pale, soft blue. The sun is rising, and we are ready to greet it. We have prepared our inner world. Now it is time to engage with the outer world. The chants have aligned us. They have unified us. They have given us a foundation of peace upon which to build our day. After the morning chants, we move from the great hall to the dining hall. The transition is seamless and silent. We walk in a single file line, our footsteps soft on the cool stone floors. The dining hall is a simpler room than the great hall. It has long, low wooden tables and benches. The wood is dark and worn, smoothed by generations of use. The room is filled with the soft morning light that filters through the large paper screen windows. The air in the dining hall smells of steamed rice, miso soup, and pickled vegetables. It is a clean, simple, and nourishing smell. We take our places at the tables, sitting on cushions on the floor. There is no scramble for seats, no chatter. Each person moves to their usual spot with a quiet grace. Once we are all seated, we sit in silence for a moment, our hands resting in our laps. We are waiting for the food to be served. The task of serving is performed by two of the younger monks. Today, it is a kind-faced boy named Ren and a quiet girl named Suki. They move with practiced efficiency, carrying large wooden trays of food. They place a bowl of rice, a bowl of soup, and a small plate of pickles in front of each person. Their movements are a meditation in themselves. They are performing their task with complete attention and care. They are not just serving food, they are offering sustenance to their community. Before we eat, we place our hands together in a gesture of gratitude. We bow our heads and recite a short verse silently to ourselves. It is a verse that reminds us to be thankful for this food, to think of the effort that went into growing it and preparing it, and to eat it with a mindful attitude. It is a moment to recognize that this simple meal is a gift from the earth, from the sun, from the rain, and from the people who worked to bring it to our table. Then we pick up our chopsticks and begin to eat. The meal is completely silent. There is no talking, no whispering, no unnecessary noise. The only sounds are the soft clicks of chopsticks against ceramic bowls and the quiet sounds of chewing and swallowing. This silence is not awkward or uncomfortable. It is a shared practice. It is the practice of mindful eating. By removing the distraction of conversation, we are able to focus completely on the food. I take my first bite of rice. The rice is warm and slightly sticky. It has a subtle, sweet flavor. I chew it slowly, noticing the texture. It is soft, yet each grain is distinct. I am aware of the sensation of the rice in my mouth. I am aware of the act of chewing. This simple act, which is so often done without any thought at all, becomes a rich and complex experience when you give it your full attention. I am not just eating, I am experiencing the rice. Next, I take a sip of the miso soup. It is warm and savory. The broth is cloudy and full of flavor. There are small cubes of soft tofu and thin slices of green onion floating in it. The warmth spreads through my chest, a comforting and grounding feeling. I can taste the saltiness of the miso, the earthiness of the tofu, the slight sharpness of the onion. Each flavor is distinct, yet they combine to create a perfect harmony. The pickles are a sharp contrast. They are crisp and sour. They are made from radishes grown in our own temple garden. The sharp taste cleanses the palate and provides a different texture. It is a bright and awakening flavor. As I eat, I alternate between the rice, the soup, and the pickles. Each bite is a new experience. I am exploring the world of taste, texture, and temperature that exists within these three simple bowls. This practice of silent, mindful eating changes your relationship with food. You begin to appreciate it more. You realize how much you normally miss when you eat while talking, or watching a screen, or thinking about other things. Here, in this silence, the food becomes the entire universe. It is a universe of simple pleasures, a universe of nourishment, a universe of gratitude. I look around the room. Everyone is engaged in the same practice. Their heads are bowed slightly over their bowls. Their movements are slow and deliberate. There is an atmosphere of deep peace and concentration in the room. We are all together, yet we are all in our own private world of sensory experience. It is another form of shared meditation. It connects us through our shared silence, our shared gratitude, our shared nourishment. I eat until I am no longer hungry, but not until I am full. We are taught to eat only what is necessary, to leave the table feeling light and energized, not heavy and sluggish. When I am finished, I place my chopsticks neatly on top of my empty bowl. I sit quietly for a moment, reflecting on the meal. I feel a sense of contentment. My body has been nourished. My mind is calm. Once everyone has finished, Ren and Suki return to clear the tables. We hand them our empty bowls with a small bow of thanks. They move just as silently and gracefully as before. When the tables are clear, we stand up in unison. We bow to each other, a gesture of respect for the shared practice. Then we file out of the dining hall, ready to begin the work of the day. The silent breakfast is more than just a meal. It is a lesson in mindfulness. It teaches us to slow down. It teaches us to pay attention. It teaches us to be grateful for the simple things. It is a practice that we carry with us throughout the day. The same level of attention that we give to a simple bowl of rice, we try to give to every task we perform. Whether it is sweeping the floors, or studying ancient texts, or tending the garden. It all begins here, with this silent, mindful meal. It is the fuel for our bodies, and the focus for our minds. After breakfast, my first task of the day is to tend the stone garden. This is not a garden of flowers or vegetables. It is a garden of rocks, gravel, and moss. It is a place of profound stillness and beauty, designed to quiet the mind and inspire contemplation. The garden is a large, rectangular space, enclosed by a low earthen wall. The ground is covered with fine, white gravel, and rising from this sea of gravel are several large, dark stones, placed with great care centuries ago. These stones are not random. They are arranged to represent mountains or islands in an ocean. Some are tall and jagged, others are low and smooth. They are covered in patches of vibrant green and deep grey moss, which adds a touch of softness and life to the hard landscape of the rock. The garden is a miniature, abstract representation of the natural world. It is a canvas for the mind to paint upon, and my job is to be its caretaker. My only tool is a wooden rake. It is a simple tool with long, thin wooden tines. The handle is smooth and dark from years of use. I begin at one corner of the garden. My task is to rake the white gravel into patterns. The most common pattern is long, straight lines that run the length of the garden. But sometimes we create swirling patterns that look like ripples in water, especially around the base of the large stones. Today, the task is to create the long, straight lines. I take my stance, my feet planted firmly on the path that runs alongside the garden. I hold the rake with both hands. I take a deep breath and begin. I pull the rake towards me in a long, slow, steady motion. The tines sink into the gravel, creating perfect, parallel grooves. The sound is soft and satisfying. A gentle, scratching whisper. It is the only sound in the garden, apart from the distant song of a mountain bird. Raking the garden is a form of moving meditation. It requires complete concentration. If my mind wanders, if I lose focus for even a second, the line will become crooked. The pattern will be disturbed. So, I must be fully present with each movement. My body, my breath, and the rake must move as one. I am not thinking about finishing the task. I am not thinking about what comes next. I am simply focused on this one single motion. Pulling the rake, creating the line. The work is slow and repetitive. I rake one line, then I step back, and I rake the line next to it, making sure it is perfectly parallel to the first. It is a process that cannot be rushed. It requires patience and precision. As I work, my mind begins to settle. The rhythmic motion of the rake, the soft sound of the gravel, the simple focus of the task, all of these things have a calming effect on the nervous system. The endless stream of thoughts that so often fills the mind begins to slow down. It becomes as quiet as the garden itself. I am not just raking gravel, I am raking my own mind. With each line I draw, I am smoothing out the wrinkles of my thoughts. I am bringing a sense of order and calm to my inner world. The garden is a mirror. As I create harmony and balance in the gravel, I am also cultivating it within myself. It is a powerful practice. It teaches me that peace is not something you find, it is something you create through patient, mindful effort. I work my way slowly across the garden. The sun is higher in the sky now, and its warm light filters through the leaves of the maple tree that stands in one corner. The light creates beautiful patterns of shadow and light on the white gravel. The garden is constantly changing. The play of light, the movement of a shadow, the growth of the moss on the rockset is a living work of art, and I am a part of its life. Sometimes a leaf will fall from the maple tree and land on the freshly raked gravel. When this happens, I do not get frustrated. It is not an imperfection. It is simply a part of nature. I will pause my raking, walk carefully into the garden, and pick up the leaf. I will look at its shape, its color, its delicate veins. I will appreciate its beauty for a moment. Then I will carry it out of the garden and continue my work. The garden teaches us to accept what is, to work with it, not against it. As I get closer to the large stones, I have to change my technique. I rake the gravel in circles around their base, creating the illusion of water rippling around an island. This requires even more care and precision. I have to move my body in a different way, a slow, graceful arc. The stones themselves seem to have a presence. They are silent and ancient. They have been sitting in this garden in this exact spot, for hundreds of years. They have witnessed countless sunrises, countless seasons, countless generations of monks. They are symbols of permanence and stability in a world that is always changing. Tending the garden is a solitary task, but I do not feel lonely. I feel a deep connection to this place. I feel a connection to the monks who have raked this same gravel before me. I am continuing a tradition. I am part of a long, unbroken line of caretakers. This thought fills me with a sense of purpose and humility. My small, daily effort is part of something much larger and more enduring. By the time I finish, the sun is high in the sky. The entire garden is now covered in perfect, straight lines of white gravel. The stones rise from it like ancient masters in deep meditation. The space feels clean, calm, and balanced. I stand at the edge for a long time, just looking at it. There is a deep satisfaction in seeing the results of my patient effort. But the satisfaction is not in the finished product. It is in the process. The real garden is the one that has been cultivated inside my own mind. It is a garden of peace, a garden of stillness. And now, I can carry that garden with me as I move on to the next part of my day. The silence of the stones will stay with me. From the bright, open space of the stone garden, I move to the quiet, enclosed world of the temple library. The library is one of the oldest buildings in the complex. It is a place of deep silence, where the only sounds are the turning of pages and the soft whisper of breathing. The air here is different. It smells of old paper, dried ink, and polished wood. It is the scent of accumulated wisdom. The room is dark, lit only by the natural light that filters through high, latticed windows. The light is soft and diffuse, creating a gentle atmosphere that is perfect for study. The walls are lined from floor to ceiling with wooden shelves, and on these shelves are hundreds, perhaps thousands, of scrolls and hand-bound books. These are the teachings of generations of masters, the collected knowledge of our lineage. My task for this part of the day is to study. But it is not study in the way the outside world understands it. It is not about memorizing facts or preparing for an examination. It is a slow, contemplative process. It is about spending time with the words of those who have walked this path before. It is about letting their wisdom soak into your being, like water into dry earth. I select a scroll from one of the shelves. It is an ancient commentary on a well-known sutra. The scroll itself is a beautiful object. The paper is thick and soft, made from mulberry bark. It has turned a warm, creamy color with age. The characters are painted with black ink, each stroke a work of art. They were written by a monk who lived here 500 years ago. Holding the scroll, I can feel a connection to him, a sense of shared inquiry across the centuries. I take the scroll to one of the low reading desks that are placed near the windows. I sit on a cushion on the floor and unroll it carefully. The scroll is long, and I only unroll a small section at a time. I do not read quickly. I read one sentence, and then I pause. I let the words sink in. I think about their meaning, not just their intellectual meaning, but their deeper, experiential meaning. What do these words mean for my own life, for my own practice? The passage I am reading today speaks of compassion. It says that true compassion is not a feeling of pity. It is a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings. It is the recognition that the suffering of another is, in some way, your own suffering. The words are simple, but their implication is profound. It is a concept that is easy to understand with the mind, but much harder to realize in the heart. So, I sit with these words. I repeat them to myself. Slowly, I let them echo in the quiet space of my mind. I think about the people in my life, the other monks in the temple, the villagers in the valley below, the birds in the trees, the insects in the grass. Are we all connected? Is there joy, my joy? Is there pain, my pain? The scroll does not give easy answers. It poses questions. It invites me to look at my own experience. This is the nature of our study. It is a dialogue between me, the student, and the ancient master who wrote these words. He is not here in person, but his mind, his wisdom, is alive on this page. And by engaging with his words, I am engaging with him. I am continuing a conversation that has been going on for centuries. Sometimes I will practice calligraphy. I will take a brush, a stone for grinding ink, and a sheet of rice paper. I will try to copy the characters from the scroll. This is not just about learning to write. It is another form of meditation. To create a beautiful character, you must have a calm mind and a steady hand. Your breath, your body, and the brush must all work together in harmony. I grind the ink stick on the whetstone, a slow, circular motion. The friction releases the black pigment, and the water turns a deep, rich black. The smell of the fresh ink is clean and sharp. I dip the tip of my brush into the ink, making sure it is perfectly saturated. Then, with a single, fluid motion, I paint a character on the paper. I try to capture not just the shape of the character, but its spirit, its balance, its energy. Often, my first attempt is not very good. The line is shaky, or the balance is wrong. I do not get discouraged. I simply take a new piece of paper and try again. The practice is not about creating a perfect piece of calligraphy. It is about the process. It is about cultivating patience, concentration, and a sense of effortless action. Each stroke of the brush is a lesson in mindfulness. I spend what feels like a long time in the library. Time moves differently here. It is not measured in minutes and hours, but in insights and moments of clarity. I become so absorbed in my study that I lose all track of the outside world. The library becomes my entire universe, a universe of words, ideas, and quiet contemplation. This period of study is a vital part of the day. The physical tasks, like raking the garden or chopping wood, ground me in the physical world. The chanting and meditation practices connect me to my inner world, and the study of these ancient texts connects me to the world of wisdom. It nourishes the mind, just as the silent breakfast nourished the body. It gives me a framework, a map, to help me understand my own experiences on this path. The texts are not a substitute for direct experience. They are a guide. They are like a finger pointing at the moon. The goal is not to stare at the finger. The goal is to look at the moon. The words of the ancient masters are there to point me in the right direction. They are there to inspire me, to challenge me, and to remind me that I am not alone on this journey. Many have walked this path before, and they have left these precious maps for us to follow. And in the quiet of the library, surrounded by their wisdom, I feel a deep sense of gratitude for their guidance. Just as my mind is deeply settled into the ancient texts, a sound from the outside world gently pulls me back. It is the midday bell. This bell is smaller than the great morning bell, and its tone is higher and lighter. It does not have the same deep, resonant power. Instead, it is a clear, bright sound that cuts through the stillness of the day. It rings 3 times, and its cheerful notes announce that it is time for the midday meal. I carefully roll up the scroll I was studying. I tie it with its silk ribbon and place it back on the shelf in its proper place. I give a small bow to the rows of books and scrolls, a gesture of thanks for the wisdom they hold. Then I leave the cool darkness of the library and step back out into the light. The sun is now directly overhead at the very peak of the sky. It is the brightest and warmest part of the day. The air is still and calm. I walk back towards the dining hall. The path takes me through the central courtyard. The white gravel of the stone garden that I raked this morning is almost dazzlingly bright in the midday sun. The shadows of the temple roofs are sharp and dark. The world feels clear and defined. There is a sense of peaceful energy in the air. Other monks are emerging from their various tasks. Some from the gardens, some from the kitchens, some from the workshops. We all move with the same unhurried pace towards the dining hall. The midday meal is very similar to breakfast. It is simple, nourishing, and eaten in complete silence. The menu is slightly different. Today, along with the steamed rice, we have a clear soup with seasonal vegetables and a small portion of steamed greens from our garden. The colors on the plate are beautiful. The white of the rice, the green of the vegetables, the clear broth of the soup. It is a meal that pleases the eye as well as the palate. We take our seats, and the food is served by the same two young monks, Ren and Suki. Their movements are just as mindful and graceful as they were in the morning. We again begin the meal with a silent moment of gratitude. We acknowledge the food and the effort that brought it to us. It is a small but important pause that grounds us in the present moment and reminds us not to take anything for granted. Then the silent eating begins. Just like at breakfast, the silence allows me to fully experience the food. The soup is light and flavorful. I can taste the sweetness of the carrots, the earthiness of the mushrooms, and the slight bitterness of the greens. The vegetables are cooked perfectly, still slightly crisp. The steamed greens are tender and have been seasoned with a little bit of sesame oil, which gives them a wonderful, nutty aroma. The rice, as always, is the simple, grounding base of the meal. I chew each bite slowly. I pay attention to the different textures. The softness of the rice, the crunch of the carrots, the silky texture of the mushrooms. Eating in this way is a rich sensory experience. It is a celebration of the simple gifts of the earth. It is also a practice in moderation. The food is delicious, but I eat only enough to satisfy my hunger. The goal is to nourish the body, not to indulge the senses. The midday meal is a moment of pause in the day. The morning was filled with the active work of chanting, cleaning, and studying. The afternoon will be filled with more physical tasks. This meal is a quiet island in the middle of the day. It is a time to rest, to refuel, and to recenter myself. The silence helps with this. It allows the mind to settle. It allows the body to digest the food properly. It creates an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. As I eat, I look at the faces of my fellow monks. They are all absorbed in their own experience. There is a look of calm concentration on their faces. We are all individuals, with our own thoughts, our own histories, our own struggles. But here, in this shared silence, we are one. We are a community bound together by a common purpose. And this simple act of eating together in silence is one of the things that strengthens that bond. After the meal, we do not linger. We clean our own bowls. There is a large stone basin at the back of the dining hall filled with warm water. We each take our bowls, chopsticks, and cups to the basin and wash them ourselves. This is part of the practice. We are responsible for our own things. We take care of them. The act of washing my own bowl is a simple, humble task. I do it with the same mindfulness as I do everything else. I feel the warm water on my hands. I feel the smooth surface of the ceramic bowl. I watch as the last grains of rice are washed away. Once our bowls are clean, we place them on a wooden rack to dry. Then we are free for a short period of rest. Some monks will return to their rooms to lie down for a few minutes. Others will sit in the shade of the large willow tree in the courtyard. I usually choose to take a short, slow walk. The midday meal has restored my energy. The silence has calmed my mind. I feel balanced and ready for the work of the afternoon. This pause, this simple meal, is the pivot point of the day. It is the quiet center around which everything else revolves. It is a reminder that even in the midst of a busy life, it is always possible to find moments of stillness and peace, and that these moments are what sustain us. After the midday meal and the short period of rest, it is time for walking meditation. This is one of my favorite parts of the day. It takes me out of the enclosed world of the temple and into the vast, living world of the mountain forest that surrounds us. There is a path that starts just behind the temple and winds its way up into the ancient pine and cedar woods. It is a path that has been walked by monks for centuries, and it is worn smooth by their footsteps. I begin my walk alone. Walking meditation is a solitary practice. It is about connecting with yourself and with the natural world. The goal is not to get anywhere. There is no destination. The journey itself is the destination. The practice is to walk slowly, very slowly, and to be completely aware of every aspect of the experience. I start by focusing on my feet. I feel the sensation of the earth beneath my soles. The path is made of packed dirt and is soft to walk on. With each step, I am aware of the movement, the lifting of one foot, the feeling of the air as it moves forward, the placing of the foot back down on the ground, the heel touching first, then the ball of the foot, then the toes, the shifting of my weight. It is a complex and beautiful dance that we do all the time without ever noticing. But in walking meditation, I notice everything. My pace is slow, almost unnaturally so. One step, then a pause, a breath in, a breath out, then another step. This slow pace forces me to be present. It is impossible to walk this slowly and be lost in thought. The physical act of walking requires my full attention. My body becomes my anchor to the present moment. As I walk, I begin to expand my awareness. I start to notice the world around me. The forest is alive with sound, but it is a quiet, natural sound. The gentle whisper of the wind in the high branches of the pine trees, the distant call of a cuckoo bird, the busy chirping of crickets hidden in the undergrowth, the soft rustle of a lizard scurrying through the dry leaves. These are the voices of the forest. I listen to them without judgment, without trying to name them. I just let the sounds wash over me. Then I focus on my sense of sight. I notice the incredible variety of green in the forest. The dark, deep green of the cedar needles, the bright, almost yellow-green of the new ferns unfurling on the forest floor, the mottled green and grey of the lichen growing on the bark of the trees. The light is magical. It filters down through the high canopy, creating moving patterns of sunlight and shadow on the path ahead. It is like walking through a cathedral made of light and leaves. I see a single, perfect spiderweb strung between two branches. It is glistening with tiny drops of dew, even in the afternoon. It is an intricate masterpiece of engineering, and it was created by a tiny creature. I stop for a moment to admire its beauty. The world is full of such wonders, but we are often moving too fast to see them. This slow walk is a gift. It allows me to see the world in all its detailed glory. I become aware of the smells of the forest, the sharp, clean scent of pine resin, the damp, earthy smell of the soil and decaying leaves, the faint, sweet fragrance of a small, white flower growing by the side of the path. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with the rich, complex perfume of the forest. It is a smell that is both invigorating and calming. It smells of life, of growth, of decay, and of renewal. It is the smell of the world as it truly is. My mind is quiet. When a thought arises, as it inevitably does, I do not fight it. I do not get angry with myself for being distracted. I simply notice the thought. I acknowledge it as if it were a cloud passing in the sky. And then I gently bring my attention back to the physical sensations of walking, back to my feet on the path, back to the sounds and smells of the forest. The practice is not about having no thoughts. It is about not being carried away by them. This walk is a deep conversation with nature. I am not separate from the forest. I am a part of it. The air that I am breathing is being produced by these very trees. The water that flows in the mountain stream is the same water that is in my body. The earth that I am walking on is the same earth from which my food grows. There is no separation. This realization fills me with a profound sense of connection and belonging. I am not just a visitor here. I am home. The path begins to climb gently. The physical effort is small, but I notice the change in my breathing and the warmth in my muscles. I am aware of my body working. It is a good feeling. It is a reminder that this body is a precious gift, a vehicle for experiencing this world. I feel a sense of gratitude for its strength and its health. After a long time, the path reaches a small clearing. In the center of the clearing is a large, flat rock that is warmed by the sun. I sit on the rock for a while. I do not do anything. I just sit. I look out at the view. Through a gap in the trees, I can see the valley below and the distant mountains on the other side. They are hazy and blue in the afternoon light. The world is vast and beautiful, and I am just a tiny, tiny part of it. This thought is not frightening. It is liberating. It puts my own small worries and concerns into perspective. The walking meditation has recalibrated me. It has cleared my mind. It has opened my senses. It has reconnected me to the natural world. It is a simple practice, but its effects are profound. After sitting for a while, I get up and begin the slow, mindful walk back down the path to the temple. I carry the peace of the forest with me. I carry the silence of the trees, the whisper of the wind, and the warmth of the sun in my heart. The world of the temple awaits, but I will re-enter it, changed by this journey into the green, living heart of the mountain. When I return from the forest, my mind calm and my senses awake, I move on to a more physical task. It is my turn this week to chop wood for the temple kitchens and for the small stoves that heat our rooms in the winter. The wood pile is located in a covered shed behind the main buildings. It is a place that smells strongly of sawdust and dry pine. Piles of uncut logs are stacked on one side, and a large, worn chopping block stands in the center. This task is a complete contrast to the quiet contemplation of the library or the slow pace of walking meditation. This is work that requires strength, rhythm, and focus. But it is a form of meditation in its own right. It is a meditation of action, of physicality, of pure, simple effort. It is a way to connect with the body and to engage with the world in a very direct and tangible way. I pick up the axe. The handle is made of hickory wood, and it is smooth and shaped perfectly to fit in my hands. It is a tool that has been used by many monks before me, and it has a sense of history to it. The head of the axe is made of heavy, dark steel. It is sharp and well cared for. I can see my own reflection, distorted, on its polished surface. It is a simple, powerful, and honest tool. I select a log from the pile. It is a section of a pine tree that fell in a storm last winter. It is about the length of my arm and as thick as my thigh. It is heavy, and I have to use both hands to lift it onto the chopping block. I stand it on its end, making sure it is stable. The rough bark feels coarse against my palms. I can smell the fresh, resinous scent of the pine. I take my stance. My feet are shoulder-width apart, my knees slightly bent. This gives me a solid, stable base. I grip the axe handle firmly, my right hand near the bottom, my left hand higher up. I take a deep breath, centering myself. For this task, you cannot have a wandering mind. A moment of inattention could be dangerous. You must be completely present, completely focused on what you are doing. I raise the axe high over my head. I can feel the weight of it, the pull in my shoulders and back. For a brief moment, it is poised at the peak of its arc, silhouetted against the sky. Then, with a long exhale, I bring it down. I do not force it, I guide it. I let gravity and the weight of the axe head do the work. My body moves in a fluid, practiced motion. The axe hits the log with a sharp, satisfying sound. A loud crack echoes through the shed. The blade bites deep into the wood. The log splits perfectly in two. The two halves fall away onto the ground on either side of the chopping block. The inside of the wood is exposed. It is a pale, creamy color, and the fresh scent of pine is even stronger now. There is a deep sense of satisfaction in this moment. The clean split, the perfect result of a focused action. It is a feeling of simple, uncomplicated accomplishment. I do not pause to congratulate myself. I simply bend down, pick up one half of the log, and place it back on the block. I take my stance again. I raise the axe. I bring it down, crack, another clean split. I fall into a rhythm. Lift the wood, place it on the block, raise the axe, breathe out, bring it down. Crack. The motions become automatic, but not mindless. My mind is still focused, but it is a relaxed focus. It is the same kind of focus I have when I am chanting or raking the garden. My body knows what to do. My mind is quiet and observant. I am aware of the feeling of the axe handle in my hands, the sound of the splitting wood, the smell of the pine, the feeling of my muscles working. This is a very grounding activity. It connects me to the basic realities of life. The need for warmth, the need for fuel to cook our food. It is honest work. There is no pretense, no abstraction. You are taking a large, unusable log and turning it into something useful. It is a direct and visible transformation. And in doing this work, I feel useful. I feel that I am contributing to the well-being of my community in a very practical way. Sweat begins to form on my brow. My breathing is deep and steady. My heart is beating strongly. The physical exertion is cleansing. It burns away any lingering restlessness or mental agitation. It is a different kind of purity than the one I find in meditation. It is the purity of honest labor, the purity of a body that is being used for its intended purpose. I continue to work for a long time. The pile of uncut logs gets smaller, and the pile of split firewood grows larger. I stack the split wood neatly against the wall of the shed. The sight of the growing pile of firewood is pleasing. It represents warmth and cooked meals and comfort for the community. It is a tangible result of my effort. This work teaches me about the nature of things. It teaches me that some problems cannot be solved by thinking. They must be solved by action. You cannot think a log into splitting. You must pick up an axe and strike it. It teaches me about persistence. The pile of logs seems large at first, but with steady, patient effort, one log at a time, it can be overcome. It is a metaphor for the larger challenges in life. When I have chopped enough wood for the day, I stop. I take a moment to stretch my back and shoulders. My muscles are tired, but it is a good tiredness. It is the feeling of having worked well. I sweep up the sawdust and wood chips from the floor. I clean the blade of the axe and put it back in its place. I leave the shed tidy and in order, ready for the next person whose turn it is. As I walk away from the woodshed, I feel a sense of balance. The morning was filled with quiet, internal practices. This afternoon has been about external, physical action. The two complement each other. One without the other would be incomplete. The life of a monk is not just about sitting on a cushion and meditating. It is about integrating that meditative awareness into all aspects of life. Into the way you eat, the way you study, and the way you chop wood. It is about finding the sacred in the ordinary. And in the simple, rhythmic act of splitting wood, I have found a deep and satisfying connection to the here and now. After the physical work of chopping wood, there is a period of quiet transition. I go back to the well to wash my hands and face. The cold water is refreshing on my warm skin. It washes away the sweat and sawdust and leaves me feeling clean and renewed. Then I make my way to a small, quiet room at the back of the temple. This is where Master Jin, our eldest monk, spends his afternoons. I have been invited to have tea with him. This is a special occasion. Master Jin does not take tea with someone every day. An invitation from him is an honor and an opportunity. He is a man of great wisdom and deep compassion. He has been living in this temple for over 70 years. He has seen seasons change. Monks come and go, and the world outside transform completely. To spend time with him is to drink from a deep well of experience. The room is simple and sparse. There is a low table in the center, a few cushions on the floor, and a single window that looks out onto a small, enclosed moss garden. The air is still and peaceful. Master Jin is already there, sitting on a cushion. He is preparing the tea. He gestures for me to sit opposite him. I bow low and then take my seat. He does not speak at first. He is completely absorbed in the act of making tea. The process is a ceremony in itself. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and full of grace. He handles the small ceramic teapot, the tiny cups, and the wooden tea scoop with a reverence that shows his deep respect for the ritual. He is not just making a drink. He is creating a moment of shared presence. I watch him in silence. I watch as he carefully measures the green tea leaves and places them in the pot. I watch as he pours the hot water, which has been heated on a small charcoal brazier, over the leaves. He pours from a height, and the water makes a soft, whispering sound as it fills the pot. He lets the tea steep for just the right amount of time, his eyes closed as if he is listening to the leaves themselves. Then he picks up the pot and pours the tea into my small cup. The tea is a beautiful, pale green color. A delicate wisp of steam rises from it, carrying a subtle, grassy aroma. He pours a cup for himself, and then he places the pot back on the table. He looks at me and smiles. His eyes are bright and clear, and his smile is full of warmth. "Drink," he says. His voice is soft, but it has a deep, gravelly quality. I pick up the cup with both hands. It is warm against my palms. I bring it to my lips and take a small sip. The tea is exquisite. It is slightly bitter at first, but then a wave of sweetness follows. It is a complex and delicate flavor that fills my mouth and seems to wake up my senses. It is both calming and clarifying. We drink the first cup in silence. The only sound is the soft sipping of the tea. The silence is not empty. It is a comfortable, shared silence. It is a space where we can simply be together without the need for words. In this silence, I feel a deep sense of respect and admiration for this old man. He embodies the peace and wisdom that we are all striving for. After we finish the first cup, he pours another. This time, he speaks. "How was your work today, Kalen?" he asks. I tell him about my day. I tell him about tending the stone garden, about my studies in the library, and about chopping the wood. I speak simply and honestly. He listens with complete attention. He does not interrupt. He just nods occasionally, his eyes never leaving my face. It feels as if he is not just hearing my words, but hearing the meaning behind them. He is listening with his whole being. When I am finished, he is silent for a moment. He looks out the window at the moss garden. "The garden, the books, the axe," he says. "They are all good teachers, but they teach the same lesson." He pauses and takes another sip of tea. I wait for him to continue. "They teach you to be here," he says, tapping his finger gently on the table. "Right here, not in the past, not in the future. When you rake the gravel, there is only the rake and the gravel. When you read the words of the old masters, there are only the words. When you split the wood, there is only the axe and the wood. That is all there is. That is the whole practice." His words are so simple, yet they resonate so deeply within me. It is the truth I have been experiencing all day, but he has expressed it with such perfect clarity. It is the lesson of mindfulness, the lesson of presence. We talk for a little while longer. I ask him a question about a difficult passage I was reading in the library. He does not give me a direct answer. Instead, he tells me a story, a simple story about a farmer and a horse. The story seems unrelated at first, but as I think about it, I begin to see the connection. He is not giving me the answer. He is guiding me to find the answer for myself. This is his way of teaching. He plants a seed and allows it to grow in its own time. We drink a third and final cup of tea. The conversation winds down. The afternoon light is beginning to soften. A long shadow from the temple roof is stretching across the moss garden. A sense of deep peace has settled over me. The tea has warmed my body, and the conversation has clarified my mind. When the tea is finished, I know it is time to leave. I place my empty cup back on the table. I place my hands together and bow deeply to him. "Thank you, Master," I say. He simply smiles and nods. "The axe is a good teacher," he says again, his eyes twinkling. I bow one more time and then quietly leave the room. As I walk back into the main part of the temple, I feel lighter. The time spent with Master Jin has been a gift. It was not just a conversation, it was a transmission, a sharing of presence. His calmness, his wisdom, his simple way of being in the world, these things have touched me. They have reminded me of what is possible. They have renewed my commitment to this path. The taste of the green tea lingers in my mouth, a sweet reminder of the simple, profound wisdom that can be found in a shared moment of stillness. After my time with Master Jin, I moved to the common room for the next task of the day. This is a large, airy room with wide windows that let in the soft afternoon light. It is a place where we gather for quiet, communal activities. Today, the task is mending. We all have a small sewing kit, and we are responsible for taking care of our own robes. The saffron-colored cotton is durable, but with daily wear and washing, it can become worn and frayed. A small tear can become a large one if it is not tended to. I find a cushion near the window and sit down. I take out my robe from my bag. It is not the one I am wearing, but a spare one that I washed yesterday. I inspect it carefully, looking for any signs of wear. I find a small hole near the hem, and the seam on one of the sleeves is starting to come undone. These are small problems, but they need attention. Mending is a quiet, focused activity. It is another form of mindfulness practice. It requires patience, a steady hand, and complete attention. It is a humble task, but a necessary one. It is an expression of our vow of simplicity. We do not throw things away just because they are a little bit worn. We care for our possessions. We extend their life through our own effort. This practice cultivates a sense of appreciation and counters the culture of waste that is so common in the world outside. My sewing kit is simple. It contains a few needles of different sizes, a small pair of scissors, and spools of thread in various shades of saffron to match our robes. I select a needle and a thread that is the closest match to the color of my robe. The process of threading the needle requires concentration. The eye of the needle is tiny, and the thread is fine. I have to hold my hand steady and my focus sharp. It is a small challenge that helps to quiet the mind. Once the needle is threaded, I begin to work on the small hole near the hem. I do not just patch it crudely. I try to make the repair as neat and invisible as possible. I use a series of tiny, even stitches, weaving the thread back and forth to close the gap in the fabric. The work is slow and meticulous. My world shrinks down to this tiny point of action. The needle, the thread, the fabric. As I sew, I fall into a gentle, repetitive rhythm. The push of the needle through the cloth, the pull of the thread, the slight resistance of the fabric. It is a soothing, meditative motion. I am not thinking about anything else. I am simply present with the task at hand. I am mending this small hole. Other monks are in the room with me, also engaged in the same task. We do not talk. We work in a comfortable, companionable silence. The only sound is the occasional snip of scissors and the soft whisper of thread being pulled through cloth. There is a sense of shared purpose in the room. We are all engaged in this simple act of care. We are caring for our clothes, but in a deeper sense, we are caring for our community and our way of life. This practice of mending is a metaphor for our inner work. Just as our robes can become worn and torn through daily use, so can our minds. We can develop small holes of negativity or frayed seams of anxiety. Our meditation practice is a form of mental mending. We sit down each day and patiently, with gentle, steady effort, we repair the fabric of our minds. We stitch up the holes of distraction. We strengthen the seams of our concentration. It is a slow, ongoing process. It is not about achieving a state of perfection. It is about the daily practice of tending and caring for our inner world. I finish repairing the hole. The stitches are neat and small. The repair is strong and almost invisible. I feel a quiet sense of satisfaction. Then I move on to the loose seam on the sleeve. This requires a different kind of stitch, a stronger one to hold the two pieces of fabric together. I work carefully, making sure each stitch is tight and secure. As I work, I think about the robe itself. I think about where the cotton came from, the plant that grew in the field, the hands that harvested it, the people who spun it into thread and wove it into cloth, the person who sewed this robe in the first place. This simple piece of clothing is the result of a vast network of causes and conditions. It connects me to countless other people and to the earth itself. By mending it, I am honoring that connection. I am expressing my gratitude for all the work that went into its creation. This simple act of sewing is an act of love. It is an act of care. It teaches me to value things. It teaches me patience. It teaches me that small, consistent efforts can make a big difference. A small hole, ignored, can become a large, irreparable tear. A small negative thought pattern, ignored, can become a deep-seated habit of suffering. The lesson is the same. Pay attention. Tend to the small things. Be patient. Be gentle. When I have finished both repairs, I inspect the robe one more time. It is now whole and strong again, ready for many more months of use. I fold it neatly and place it back in my bag. I look around the room. The afternoon light is growing softer and warmer, casting a golden glow on the focused faces of my fellow monks. There is a profound beauty in this simple scene. A room full of people quietly engaged in a humble act of care. It is a picture of peace. The period for mending comes to an end. We pack away our sewing kits and put our robes away. We have not spoken a single word, but I feel a sense of connection to the others in the room. We have shared this time, this practice, this silence, and we are all a little more whole because of it. Our robes are mended, and our minds are a little more settled. The simple, quiet work is done. As the afternoon begins to fade towards evening, I make my way to the temple kitchen. This is my duty for the week, to help prepare the evening meal. The kitchen is a large, warm, and bustling place. It is a contrast to the deep silence of the library or the meditative calm of the mending room. But even here, there is a sense of order and mindfulness. It is a different kind of practice, a practice of mindful activity in a shared space. The kitchen is filled with wonderful smells. The earthy scent of root vegetables, the sharp aroma of ginger and garlic, and the comforting smell of rice steaming in a large pot. The room is filled with the soft, rhythmic sounds of chopping, stirring, and washing. It is a symphony of preparation. Several other monks are already at work. Elara, the young monk I saw at the well this morning, is at a large wooden table, skillfully chopping carrots into thin, perfect circles. Her movements are fast and precise, a blur of motion, but there is no sense of rush. Her focus is complete. An older monk named Kenji is standing over a large wok, stirring a mixture of greens with a long wooden paddle. His movements are slow and graceful, like a dance. My task today is to wash the rice. This is a very important job. Rice is the foundation of our every meal, and it must be treated with respect. I go to the large wooden barrels where the rice is stored. I scoop out the correct amount into a large metal bowl. The feel of the dry, hard grains of rice running through my fingers is a pleasant sensation. I take the bowl to the stone sink. I fill it with cold, clean water from the well. Then I plunge my hands into the water and begin to wash the rice. I move my hands in a slow, circular motion, gently rubbing the grains against each other. The water immediately becomes cloudy and white with the excess starch. This is the first washing. It is about removing the dust and impurities. I pour out the cloudy water carefully, making sure not to lose any of the precious grains. Then I fill the bowl with fresh water and wash it again. I repeat this process several times. With each washing, the water becomes clearer. I am not just washing rice. I am practicing patience. I am performing a ritual of purification. I am watching as something cloudy and opaque becomes clear and translucent. It is a simple, beautiful process. As I work, I am aware of everything that is happening around me. I can hear the sizzle of vegetables in the hot wok. I can see the steam rising from the soup pot. I can feel the cool water on my hands. I am part of a team. We are all working together, each of us performing our own specific task to create a meal for our community. There is very little talking. We communicate mostly through gestures and a shared understanding of the rhythm of the kitchen. When the rice water is finally almost completely clear, I know it is ready. I drain it one last time and then transfer the clean, wet rice into the large cooking pot. I add the correct amount of fresh water. I place the lid on the pot and put it on the stove to cook. My part of the job is done for now. But I do not leave the kitchen. I look for what needs to be done next. I see a basket of leafy greens that need to be washed. I take them to the sink and begin to clean them, leaf by leaf. I remove any dirt or wilted parts. I am careful not to bruise the delicate leaves. This is another opportunity for mindfulness, to pay attention to the details, to appreciate the vibrant green color and the crisp texture of the leaves. This is the food that will nourish our bodies. It is a gift from our garden, and it should be treated with care and gratitude. Working in the kitchen teaches me about cooperation. It teaches me that our individual efforts, when combined, can create something wonderful. No single person makes the entire meal. Elara chops the carrots, Kenji cooks the greens, I wash the rice. Someone else makes the soup. Together, our separate actions become a single, harmonious creation. It is a beautiful lesson in community. It also teaches me about generosity. We are not cooking for ourselves. We are cooking for everyone. We are putting our care and our attention into this food so that our brothers and sisters will have a nourishing and delicious meal. The act of preparing food for others is a fundamental act of love. It is a way of saying, I care for you. I wish for your well-being. The kitchen is the warm, beating heart of the temple. It is a place of transformation. Raw ingredients from the earth are transformed into a meal that will sustain life. It is a place of alchemy, and to be a part of that process is a privilege. It is a chance to participate in the cycle of life, of giving and receiving. As the meal gets closer to being ready, the energy in the kitchen becomes more focused. The final dishes are being prepared. The tables in the dining hall are being set. There is a sense of anticipation in the air. Soon, we will all gather to share the fruits of our collective labor. My time in the kitchen is over. I wash my hands and leave the warm, fragrant room. I feel a sense of contentment. I have contributed. I have been a part of the process. And I have learned, once again, that even the most ordinary tasks, like washing rice, can become a profound practice when they are done with a mindful and generous heart. The sounds and smells of the kitchen stay with me as I walk towards the veranda to await the setting sun. As the day begins to draw to a close, many of us gather on the wide wooden veranda that runs along the front of the great hall. This veranda faces west, and it offers a perfect, unobstructed view of the sun setting behind the distant mountain peaks. This is not a formal, structured practice. There is no bell to start it, no teacher to lead it. It is a spontaneous gathering of those who wish to witness the day's end in silence and contemplation. I find a spot on the smooth, worn wooden planks. The wood is still warm from the afternoon sun. I sit in a comfortable position, my legs crossed, my back straight. I am not alone. Other monks are scattered along the length of the veranda, each sitting in their own pool of stillness. We are together in our solitude. The world before me is a vast and breathtaking canvas. The sky, which was a clear, bright blue just a short while ago, is now beginning to transform. Streaks of pale pink and soft orange are appearing on the western horizon. The mountains, which looked sharp and defined in the midday sun, are now becoming soft, purple silhouettes against the brightening sky. The air is changing, too. The warmth of the day is beginning to recede, replaced by a gentle, cool evening breeze. The breeze carries the scent of pine from the forest and the faint, sweet smell of night-blooming flowers from the temple gardens. The sounds are changing as well. The busy sounds of the day are fading, replaced by the softer sounds of the evening. The chirp of the crickets is becoming louder. An owl hoots from deep within the woods. My practice here is simple. I just watch. I just listen. I just feel. I am a silent witness to the beauty of the world. I am not trying to achieve anything. I am not trying to have a profound insight. I am simply being present with this magnificent, fleeting moment. The sun itself is now a brilliant, glowing orb balanced on the jagged edge of the farthest mountain. It is slowly sinking. I watch its descent. The light it casts is magical. It is a warm, golden light that bathes the entire temple in a soft, ethereal glow. It makes the wood of the veranda gleam like honey. It makes the leaves on the trees look like they are on fire. It is a light that seems to be full of peace and nostalgia. As the sun sinks lower, the colors in the sky become more and more intense. The oranges become deeper, the pinks turn to a vibrant rose, and streaks of deep crimson and royal purple appear. The sky is a masterpiece, a painting that is changing from moment to moment. It is a powerful reminder of the impermanence of all things. This beautiful scene will never be repeated in exactly the same way again. It exists only for this brief moment, and my only job is to appreciate it. I do not try to hold on to it. I do not feel sad that it is ending. I simply watch it unfold with a sense of awe and gratitude. The practice of meditation has taught me to be with things as they are, without grasping or pushing away. To be with beauty without needing to possess it. To be with sadness without being overwhelmed by it. And to be with this sunset with an open and appreciative heart. The final sliver of the sun disappears behind the mountain. For a moment, it seems as if the world holds its breath. The intense colors in the sky begin to soften. They fade into gentler pastel shades. The light drains from the world, and the shadows grow long. The transition from day to night is not abrupt. It is a slow, graceful dance. Now, the first star appears in the darkening sky, a single, tiny point of brilliant white light. Then another and another. Soon, the deep indigo sky is scattered with 1,000 diamond-like stars. The moon, a perfect silver crescent, has also risen. The world is transformed once again. It is now a world of silver and shadow. I sit for a long time in the gathering darkness. My mind is completely still. It has been emptied out by the vastness of the sky. My own small concerns seem insignificant in the face of this cosmic beauty. I feel a sense of deep peace, a sense of connection to the universe. I am a small part of this vast, mysterious, and beautiful world. This sunset meditation is a powerful practice of letting go. Every day, the sun lets go of the sky. It does not cling to its position of prominence. It gracefully descends and allows the night to have its turn. It is a lesson in humility and acceptance. It teaches me to let go of my own attachments, to let go of my ego, to let go of the day that has passed. The evening meal will be soon. Then there will be the final chants of the day. But for now, I sit in this perfect stillness. The cool night air is on my skin. The light of the stars is in my eyes. The silence of the mountain is in my ears. The day has been full. It has been a cycle of activity and rest, of solitude and community, of physical work and mental contemplation. And it has ended here, in this moment of profound beauty and peace. I am ready for the night. I am filled with a quiet sense of gratitude for the gift of this day, and for this moment, which is its perfect, silent conclusion. After the quiet majesty of the sunset, the evening bell calls us once again. Its tone is gentle, softer than the morning bell, a calm invitation rather than a summons. We leave the veranda and the courtyards and make our way back to the great hall. The hall is dark, even darker than it was in the morning. The only light comes from a few candles on the altar, their small flames creating an atmosphere of intimacy and reverence. We take our places on our cushions just as we did at dawn. The air is cool and still. The familiar scent of sandalwood incense hangs in the air, but it seems heavier, more contemplative in the evening. We sit in the darkness, a community of silent figures, waiting. The day has been long and full, and there is a feeling of peaceful weariness in the room. Master Jin takes his place at the front of the hall. He strikes the small, bowl-shaped bell. Its clear, pure tone rings out, cutting through the silence and drawing our attention inward. The evening chants are different from the morning ones. They are slower, quieter, and more melodic. The words speak of gratitude, of taking refuge, and of dedicating the merits of our day's practice to the well-being of all living things. Master Jin begins, his deep voice a soft and soothing rumble in the darkness. We join in, our voices merging into one. The sound is not as powerful or as energetic as the morning chant. It is a gentle lullaby, a soft river of sound that flows through the hall, washing over us, cleansing us of the day's accumulated tensions. As I chant, I let my mind drift back over the day that has passed. It is not an analytical review. It is a gentle, impressionistic reflection. I see images and feel sensations. The shock of the cold water from the well, the satisfying scratch of the rake on the white gravel, the smell of old paper in the library, the solid weight of the axe in my hands, the warmth of the teacup, the pull of the thread through the cloth, the vibrant colors of the sunset. Each of these moments was a practice. Each was an opportunity to be present, to be aware. I reflect on how I met these moments. Were there times when my mind wandered? Yes, many times. Were there times when I felt frustrated or tired? Yes. I do not judge myself for these moments. I simply acknowledge them. They are part of the path. The practice is not about being perfect. It is about always returning to the breath, returning to the present moment, again and again. The chant continues. its gentle rhythm a perfect backdrop for this process of reflection. The words we are chanting remind me that my practice is not just for myself. We chant for the happiness and freedom from suffering of all beings. My small efforts today, the wood I chopped, the meal I helped prepare, the care I took in mending my robar, all small contributions to the well-being of my community, and the peace that I have cultivated in my own heart, I can now offer to the world. This is a powerful and humbling thought. It transforms my personal practice into an act of service. The peace I find on my cushion is not my private possession. It is a resource that I can share. It is a light that I can radiate. The chant helps me to cultivate this intention. It opens my heart beyond the narrow confines of my own self and connects me to the vast web of life. The chant slowly winds down. The voices become softer and softer until they fade into a whisper and then into complete silence. We sit in the deep, resonant silence that follows. The darkness in the hall feels comforting, like a warm blanket. It is a space of deep rest and integration. All the experiences of the day, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the insights, are now settling within me. They are becoming a part of who I am. In this silence, I feel a profound sense of gratitude. Gratitude for this life. Gratitude for this practice. Gratitude for this community. Gratitude for our teachers, like Master Jin, who guide us with their wisdom and compassion. And gratitude for the simple, ordinary moments of the day that are, in fact, the substance of our lives. The day was not filled with dramatic events. It was a simple, repetitive, and ordinary day. But through the practice of mindfulness, it was transformed into something rich, meaningful, and deeply satisfying. After a long period of silent sitting, Master Jin strikes the bell one final time. The clear note hangs in the air and then dissolves, signaling the end of our formal practice for the day. We rise slowly, our movements quiet and mindful. We bow to the altar, and then we bow to each other, a silent acknowledgement of our shared journey. We leave the great hall and walk out into the cool night. The sky is brilliant with stars. The moon casts a soft, silver light on the temple roofs. The day is complete. The cycle is finished. We have greeted the dawn with chants of aspiration, and we have bid farewell to the day with chants of gratitude. We have worked, we have studied, we have eaten, we have meditated. We have lived this one day as fully and as consciously as we could, and now all that is left is to rest, to surrender to the stillness of the night, and to prepare for the gift of a new day. The final walk of the day is the short journey from the great hall back to my own small room. I walk alone, but I can hear the soft footsteps of others on the wooden walkways, each person returning to their own private space. The temple, which was a place of communal activity all day, now becomes a collection of solitary, silent cells. The night air is cool and crisp. It feels clean and pure in my lungs. I pause for a moment in the courtyard and look up at the sky. The Milky Way is a luminous, shimmering river of light, stretching from one horizon to the other. The sheer immensity of the universe is humbling. It reminds me of my own smallness, and yet I do not feel insignificant. I feel a part of it all. I am a tiny flicker of awareness in this vast, cosmic ocean. I reach my room and slide open the paper screen door. The room is dark and cool. The only light is the soft, silver moonlight that shines through the window, painting a pale rectangle on the wooden floor. I do not light a candle. The darkness is a friend. It is a space of rest and quiet. I undress slowly, folding my saffron robes with the same care and attention as I did in the morning. I place them neatly aside, ready for tomorrow. I put on my simple sleeping garments, which are made of soft, white cotton. My sleeping mat is where I left it this morning. I unroll my thin blanket. The room is sparse. There is only the mat, the blanket, and a small wooden block that serves as a pillow. There are no distractions. There is nothing here but the essence. This simplicity is a form of freedom. It is a release from the burden of possessions and the endless desire for more. I lie down on the mat. The wooden floor beneath me is firm and solid. The blanket is light but warm. I lie on my back, my hands resting at my sides. I do not try to fall asleep. I simply rest. I allow my body to become heavy and relaxed. I feel the points of contact between my body and the floor. My heels, my calves, my back, my head. I am supported. I am held by the earth. I bring my attention to my breath, the gentle, rhythmic rising and falling of my chest. I do not try to control it. I just observe it. The breath is the anchor that keeps me in the present moment. It is the thread that connects my waking life to my sleeping life, in and out. A slow, steady, peaceful rhythm. The sounds of the night are soft and distant. The gentle rustle of the wind in the pine trees outside my window. The far-off cry of a night bird. These sounds are not a disturbance. They are a part of the silence. They are the lullaby of the mountain. My mind is quiet. The day's activities are over. The reflections are complete. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere left to go. There is only this moment, this breath, this stillness. It is a feeling of deep contentment, a feeling of coming home. As I lie here on the edge of sleep, I feel a sense of profound peace. The day was a journey through a series of simple, ordinary moments. But each moment was an opportunity to be awake, an opportunity to be kind, an opportunity to be grateful. And as I drift into the world of dreams, I carry this peace with me. It is the final gift of the day. The boundary between waking and sleeping begins to blur. Thoughts become dreamlike. Sensations become distant. I am letting go of the day, letting go of myself. I am sinking into a deep, dark, and peaceful ocean of rest. The cycle is complete, and in the deep stillness of the mountain night, I sleep. The journey of discovery never truly ends. There are always more quiet corners of the universe to explore together.